It was supposed to be a simple meeting, the kind of routine gathering where two influential figures would sit down, exchange pleasantries, and discuss policy over an oval-shaped table. But what happened in that office, where power has been wielded for generations, would surprise even the most seasoned political observers. On one side sat Donald Trump, the former president whose combative, larger-than-life persona had become a hallmark of his tenure in the White House. Known for his no-holds-barred approach, Trump had often clashed with the media, with fellow politicians, and even with his own allies when they didn't meet his expectations. But this day, something was different. Something in the air felt like it was about to snap. And sitting next to him, with a smile that never seemed to fade, was Elon Musk. The tech mogul, fresh off his acquisition of Twitter and a series of controversial remarks about everything from AI to electric cars, was no stranger to polarizing opinions. To the public, Musk had built an empire of innovation, yet in this room, his role was murky. Was he just another billionaire with a hidden agenda, or was there something more? He was Trump's guest today, but the questions remained: who was truly in control of this conversation? The stakes were high, the cameras were rolling, and reporters were on edge, knowing this would be a moment to remember. Trump had always thrived on controversy, and Musk was a master of disrupting the status quo. But no one could have anticipated what would transpire when the two powerful figures took their seats in the heart of American political power. It began innocently enough. The two men, flanked by an eager group of reporters, exchanged a few light words about the future of space exploration, electric cars, and the economy. Trump, ever the showman, took every opportunity to remind the press of his previous successes. He was proud of the economy under his reign, and his voice boomed with certainty as he recounted his victories. "Ellen and I," Trump began, his eyes gleaming with that familiar, bold confidence, "we know how to make things happen. We're both winners. I built a business empire from nothing, and he's taking humanity to Mars. Believe me, folks, no one's done it better." Musk, nodding along, shot his typical half-smile, though there was a certain ambiguity in his expression. Was he genuinely flattered by Trump's praise, or was there a sense of discomfort lingering just beneath the surface? His reply, as always, was calculated and poised. "Well, the future is about solving problems," Musk said, his voice calm but carrying an undertone of impatience, "and that's exactly what we are both trying to do. We're here to push the boundaries of what's possible." At that point, a reporter raised an eyebrow and asked the question that had been burning in the back of everyone's mind. "Mr. Trump, with your endorsement of JD Vance in Ohio, do you think he has what it takes to lead the country in a new direction? Are you still backing him, or is there someone else you're looking to support in the upcoming elections?" A hush fell over the room. The question was simple, yet it had the potential to change the political landscape. JD Vance, the venture capitalist and author, had been a rising star in Trump's circle. His rhetoric had caught the attention of the far right, and his alignment with Trump's populist ideals seemed like a perfect match. But here was the bombshell, the unexpected response that no one saw coming. Trump paused for a moment. His trademark bravado faltered, and his lips pursed as he surveyed the room. "Well, let me put it this way," Trump began, his tone shifting to something far more measured. "JD's got a lot of promise. But I'm not so sure yet. I don't make endorsements lightly. I've been burned before, you know. We'll see how he does in Ohio, and then we'll go from there." The reporters exchanged glances, perplexed. A snub. A calculated move to distance himself from Vance? Trump had built his political brand on loyalty, but this felt different. As the questions continued, Trump stood firm, refusing to give a full endorsement to the candidate many had expected him to fully support. But that wasn't the only surprise that day. The conversation took another unexpected turn when a reporter asked about the ongoing debate over the environmental impact of single-use plastics. "Mr. Trump, what are your thoughts on the growing movement against single-use plastics, particularly straws? Would you consider supporting a ban or restriction on their use?" Without missing a beat, Trump raised an eyebrow and shook his head. "Straws? Seriously? You want to focus on straws?" His voice was incredulous, the dismissive tone cutting through the air like a hot knife through butter. "There are much bigger issues to worry about, like the economy, like the border, like getting America back on track. Straws? That's what you're worried about?" The room was silent. It wasn't just the arrogance of his dismissal, it was the audacity of his response. In that moment, Trump was not only mocking the environmental cause but also challenging the very foundation of a movement that had grown in strength across the nation. But then, in what could only be described as a strange act of unity, Musk chimed in, his voice unexpectedly supportive of the environmental movement. "Well, actually, reducing plastic waste is a real issue," Musk said, his eyes narrowing slightly as he addressed Trump. "It's not just about straws. It's about the planet's future. I think we can do better. We can innovate our way out of problems like this." Trump turned to Musk with a look of bemusement, clearly unfazed, but also curious about Musk's shift in tone. "Elon, always the idealist," Trump quipped, his voice laced with sarcasm. "You can't solve every problem by throwing money at it. Sometimes, you just need to get to the bigger issues." Musk, with his usual calm, nodded. "Maybe the problem isn't the straw itself, but how we approach innovation. We could have biodegradable alternatives, more sustainable methods. But it requires effort. And that's what we should be focusing on: solutions." Trump looked at him for a long moment, weighing the words before responding. "Maybe, but it's a waste of time to get distracted by small things. We've got bigger fish to fry." And just like that, the moment passed. The media frenzy didn't die down, but the tension between the two was palpable. Trump had dug his heels in on the issue of straws, refusing to give any ground, while Musk, ever the disruptor, had suggested an alternate view that may have appeared more politically correct, but far less in line with Trump's worldview. As the meeting came to a close, there was no dramatic handshake or even a hint of mutual understanding. Instead, the air was thick with the unspoken tension of two men from radically different worlds, each trying to dominate the other's narrative, yet oddly coexisting in the same space. Trump, with his typical defiance, had made it clear he wasn't about to be swayed by the latest environmental trends or make a rash political endorsement. Musk, for all his technological genius, seemed more interested in finding common ground than in winning a battle of egos. And as the reporters filed out of the Oval Office, their notes filled with contradictions, one thing was clear: the real clash had only just begun. Would Musk's vision of progress eventually win over Trump's hard-nosed pragmatism? Or would the former president's bluster continue to reign supreme? Only time would tell. But for now, it was a day that would live on in political infamy: Trump, the unyielding populist, and Musk, the tech mogul who might have just realized that in politics, you're either all in, or you're just another player in a game where the stakes are much higher than they seem.